Welcome back to Bible Court, where the Bible is our authority. In episode 1, we asked, does God really exist? Then in episode 2, we answered, who is God and who created God? We established that God was never created. He is eternal. And we also said something very important. Jesus Christ is God. But we promised that we would explain that further. So before we answer today's question, why should I believe in God? Let's first settle this. Is Jesus Christ really God?
Let's start with something very important. When we say Jesus Christ is God, we're not saying there are two gods. We're saying that the invisible God revealed himself in flesh. Let's go back to a scripture we touched on in our last episode. John 1:1 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And John 1:14 says, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us." So who was the Word? God. And what happened to the Word? The Word was made flesh. And this wasn't something that suddenly appeared in the New Testament. Hundreds of years before the birth of Jesus, Isaiah spoke about a child who would come. And listen carefully to the names given to this son. Isaiah 9:6 says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given." But listen to the names given to this son: the mighty God, the everlasting Father. A son would be born, yet Scripture calls him the mighty God and the everlasting Father.
Wait. So you're saying the baby who was born was actually God coming to mankind?
Exactly. And Matthew tells us the same thing. Matthew 1:23 says, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and his name would be called Emmanuel," which being interpreted is God with us. Not simply a prophet with us, or a good teacher with us, but God with us. And 1 Timothy 3 verse 16 makes it even clearer. "And without controversy great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh." There is the mystery. God was manifested in flesh. Jesus Christ wasn't merely a man trying to become God. God was revealing himself in flesh.
But did Jesus himself ever say anything that pointed to this?
Yes. In John 8:58, Jesus said, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am." Notice, he didn't say, "Before Abraham was, I was." He said, "I am." That's why we have to understand this correctly. God wasn't sending another God. There is one God, and he made himself known to mankind in Jesus Christ. Colossians 2:9 says, "For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily."
So when we say Jesus Christ is God, we're not talking about a second God? Then if Jesus Christ is God, why should I believe in him?
Exactly. There is one God, revealed to mankind in Jesus Christ. Now, why should you believe in him? Let's make it very simple. You believe someone when they have shown you that their word can be trusted. So the question is, has God given us a reason to believe him? And the answer is yes. God didn't remain hidden and simply demand, "Believe me." He made himself known. And if you want to know whether God is worth believing, look at Jesus Christ. Look at what he said. Look at what he did. Look at his life. Look at his character. And look at his death and resurrection. God didn't give mankind only words. He gave us something to examine. And there's another simple reason. God keeps his word. People can make promises and break them. People can lie. People can change. But God has shown himself faithful to what he says. As it has been preached again and again, God keeps his word. And someone who keeps their word gives you a reason to believe them. Now, let's go to our final authority, the Bible. Jesus himself said something remarkable in John 10:37-38. "If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. But if I do, though ye believe not me, believe the works." Think about that. Jesus said, "If I'm not doing the works, don't believe me." But if he was doing the works, he said, "Believe the works." Jesus was giving them a reason to believe. He pointed them to what God was doing right before their eyes. And Numbers 23:19 says, "God is not a man that he should lie." Then it asks, "Hath he said, and shall he not do it?" That's the point. God doesn't lie. God keeps his word. And there is one more thing. Jesus Christ died, but Christianity declares that he rose again. And if Jesus truly conquered death, then his words deserve your attention. We'll examine the evidence for his resurrection in another episode.
So, after everything we've discussed, let me ask again. Why should I believe in God?
Because God has given us reasons to believe him. He made himself known in Jesus Christ. He has shown that his word can be trusted, and he has shown himself faithful to what he says. God doesn't ask you to believe him without giving you a reason. So don't believe simply because your parents told you. Don't believe because a preacher told you. And don't believe because we told you. Look for yourself. Examine Jesus Christ. Ask questions and sincerely seek the truth. Because if Jesus Christ really is who he says he is, then the question isn't simply, should I choose Christianity? The question is, what will I do with the truth?
But that leaves another question. Everything you've told me eventually comes back to this book. So, why should I believe the Bible? We'll answer that in the next episode. The Bible is our authority. Until next time, keep searching the scriptures. We'll see you in the next episode of Bible Court.